Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tables and chairs, contact lenses for those of you who are wearing them. Can I just start off by letting you know that our rate of subscribers is atypically good. Most of you who are interested in watching us have subscribed, but if you don't subscribe, then the algorithm comes and gets us while we sleep, and the odds of you seeing this show or the next one just sort of ebb away. Doesn't cost anything. Takes 2 seconds to click the button, hit subscribe, and that way we all help each other in this lovely world together. Gentlemen, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Rinse and repeat from Crispy. Same grind on a different day. Part 77 from here. Tony Tone, how are you?
I'm very well, young man. Very well.
So, I'm here on behalf of the Latter-day Saints of... No, listen, what is happening at Tottenham Hotspur? What in the name of Goebbels is happening at Tottenham Hotspur?
There's nothing wrong with my Goebbels. Thank you very much.
This is the only way I can get light on me, by turning into... Honestly, it's quite a charming overcast day in Birmingham city centre, and I just can't get any light, man. So I look like I'm in a bunker
with Eva Green.
Ooh, lovely. Right, so tell me, chaps, please look. I've been wading through, and Chris, I'd like to thank you, call you out by name, and thank you personally for adding so much of it's just unique, idiosyncratic guano you've been adding to our chat group, because I'm desperate to know what Expressions Oozing is thinking. If I don't understand what's going through Chris Cowlin's mind, I haven't had a full day. And as for the Spectrum Brothers, boy, do they really bring it to the yard. So what do you think? Or are you just following these seers, these visionaries?
So there is no other word than disgraceful for the performance on Saturday. If we can't approach a London derby with any more energy, tempo and commitment, serious questions need to be asked. The alarm bells were ringing when I saw the starting 11, and you thought, where on earth are goals going to come from in that side? Then the game kicked off and everybody was flat as pancakes. The result was terrible. Their goalkeeper wasn't made to save anything, and we know that he's crap. And of all the Chelsea teams to have ever rolled up at the previous White Hart Lane or the current Tottenham Stadium, that's one of the worst Chelsea sides that you'll face. And anybody with anything about them, Sunderland, give them a game and are confident of taking 3 points. There's loads of murmurings about Frank out. I think that's quite ridiculous that we were prepared to give our old fat mate from down under all that time in his second season. So for me, it's not Frank out at this point, but Frank needs to read the room, and he needs to understand that if he continues to deliver football of that nature, he'll very quickly lose the fan base and people will be calling him for him out. But we've also got to remember that at Brentford, he had Visser, he had Mbuemo, and he had Tony. At Tottenham, he's got a shower of shit that he can continue to rinse and repeat, try different formations, but everything he's trying is crap. It's all the stuff in the bargain aisle at Aldi that nobody wants. So is he clever enough to read the room? I hope so. But at the moment, there's a lot of parallels to Nuno Espirito Santo. We were quick to kick out the building for the defensive, boring style of play that isn't Tottenham. But again, we are, fourth in the league, only 10 games into the season. Let's not get carried away, because if we do, we're no different to the approach that Daniel Levy took with sacking managers every other Thursday. And nobody in their right mind would come to a club if they see another manager being binned off who's fourth in the league with the absolute crap that he was left with. So the project is long-term. It's going to take 3 or 4 windows to sort this mess out. And it's like asking a skilled tradesman to work with Chinese crap that you've got from the back of a car boot sale. So he doesn't walk away from this immune from any criticism. There's plenty of it, but you've got to do a deep dive into the circumstances that he finds himself in.
Yep, I think there's lots of truth in that. Tony, what do you have to add that is worth listening to?
Oh, fuck all, mate. I couldn't agree more with what Chris said. I also, this is just my opinion, obviously, but let's put this nonsense to rest. Frank out. Just whoever's saying that, just go and have a long, hard look at yourself, probably in the mirror, but also via your own asshole, because that's what you're speaking. It's ridiculous to say this guy. Even though the football isn't the best, and we know there's lots of reasons why behind that, we've only lost 3 games this season so far. We've lost 3 games, and if you think, okay, whilst the performance wasn't good, and there was no question about that, and it's been up and down to say the least, I hesitate to think if Ange had been in that game with his suicidal tactics, what that result would have truly been.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that losing 1-0 and not playing very well is an improvement, yay for us. I'm not saying that at all. It was terrible. It was diabolical. It was everything you could imagine being bad about it, especially against a Chelsea team that was absolutely ripe for the picking. Didn't have the likes of Palmer et al. There. We should have. If we'd have had any gumption with us, we should have won that game. We should have at least put a good fist of it. But the fact of the matter is that when you look at what you said there, Chris, when you've got the basically, I suppose one of the better phrase is the premature ejaculation of Daniel Levy. He's got to call from. If you put a, I think with the way that Tottenham have done business in the past, you could have put an infinite number of monkeys in a room, and they wouldn't have come up with a Premier League squad because Daniel Levy wouldn't have fucking allowed them to.
No. And
I take a view which I don't think is particularly extreme or extraordinary. We see the team sheets come out, and I learned a long time ago that arguing with people that don't really exist because they're technically too stupid to exist, they don't contribute anything, is a pretty implausible sort of undertaking. But the idea that the team sheet comes out, we've got 15 players to choose from or something because of injury. And then the ones that are left are actually the dregs of society, which is a bit like evaluating how great the human race is based upon the people who have come out of a hospital ward for mentally challenged people who haven't got long to live, that aren't very bright and have got low IQs and can't contribute to anything to society. And Daniel Levy has left us in a terrible position. And I don't want to sound like one of those politicians who even, 3 years into term says, well, you should see what the Conservatives left us with. It doesn't stack up. You have to evaluate things as they are and what you're doing with the resources. But with the respect of Tottenham Hotspur, the resources are pretty bloody appalling. Let's just look at our attack line. Wilson Odobert is championship at best. I'm sick of hearing all the excuses. And really, and of course, I'm going to go down the route of telling people what they should think and how they should talk. But for goodness sake, stop making excuses. Wilson Odobert is championship at best, at very best. On a good day is championship. Richarlison has never, ever scored enough goals to warrant being a top-end elite-level striker. Just hasn't happened. And I don't want to hear about Brazil, because while you were snoozing, while you were making excuses, that went down the toilet as well. He doesn't even exist as a Brazilian international.
Do you know the only reason Richarlison's at the club is that Everton were valuing him at £80 million. They were in dire financial trouble. Levy, doing what Levy likes to do best, thought he could be smug, thought he could get a deal over the line at 65 million. Yet he didn't realise what he was paying for 65 million was complete and utter tripe.
Well, he doesn't know his job. This is one of the things that he got away with because of, again, stupid people saying, oh, but he's brilliant off the pitch. It's the on the pitch stuff that's the problem. And those people were delusional and not very bright. The reality is that he got a deal. I mean, some fine person, I don't know who it was, might have been me, said that doing business with Daniel Levy was getting a hire purchase agreement on a second-hand washing machine. Yes, absolutely legally watertight and binding, but are you really going to wear that shirt to work? It looks like it's been involved in an accident. The collar's gone, there's buttons missing, and it's beginning to fray around the neck. The reality is that the shites, the guano, the unchecked rubbish that he's been buying has now started to bottleneck up in the squad. And I have to say, I'm going to keep saying it, we're waiting for mid-range, mediocre Maddison to return. We're waiting for Kulusevski to come back and be played out of position, and not in a central role. I don't have that much sympathy for footballers because the reality is I don't care about the humanity aspect of it. They're getting paid a phenomenal amount of money. And I know you can't demand that people do the right thing. But I think that Xabi Simons has been with us for about 20 minutes. I think this is one of the most tough and unforgiving divisions in the world. And I think the reality is that we've had this conversation before. When you play pool against a really good pool player down the pub, for those of you who still go to bloody pubs, but you're probably sat at home on your fucking devices shouting Thomas Frank out because you don't know anything about that either. But when you play pool against a good pool player, you raise your game, generally speaking. And I think there's an awful lot of players in our squad. I mean, Kudus is drowning, not waving.
Kudus looks like he's playing wearing diving boots at the moment.
Well, he's been playing in a side which has got, to use a very well worn out phrase at this stage, far too many headless chickens in it. Bergvall is going backwards while we're shouting Thomas Frank out. Bergvall is going backwards. And there have to be questions asked as to what's going on in training, whereby Kinski has gone off the boil, unless he fluked his initial glimpses that we got. And what's the other chap's name as well? Archie Gray. What's happened to his career?
He's injured for 8 weeks, isn't he?
But he's winning plaudits and this, that, and the other, and now he can't stay fit and can't get into the first team, and it just isn't good enough.
I think rewinding H and Tony to the Simmons thing, people would have been quick to give up on Luka Modric and Gareth Bale, and in time they came good. So it's a new environment for him. Yes, I have concerns at the moment that he resembles the Dutch Harry Winks in respect of he's always backwards and sideways, and some might argue that there's a bit of a Brian Hill there. He could do with some Chrissy B protein, and he could do with a few sessions in the gym. But equally, when he was playing at Red Bull Leipzig, he probably had a more quality player around him. And when you play with better players, they make you look better. So
you naturally it enhances your game playing with decent. I mean, these characters that are out there. See the team sheet, and look, my reaction to that team sheet. Careful with your language there, sir. Team sheet is not a favourable one. But I don't go, why are you playing with Richarlison? Well, it doesn't actually have anybody else.
There were plenty to criticise Kolo Randall, whatever his name is, Randall Kolo Mwani.
One.
But look behind him, and you had a midfield three of Papa Matassar, Bentancur, and Polina. Where's the front ball come? Where's the creativity? There wasn't any whatsoever.
I said that on the chat. I said he was so isolated. I mean, you can't possibly blame him for having zero impact on that performance. His job is to put the ball in the net, and you've got to give the guy an opportunity to put the ball in the net. And I don't think he received a decent ball all game.
I've seen people with rabies incur less isolation.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just pathetic. It really was pathetic. And jumping straight a little bit forward, but this bollocks with Spence and Van de Ven at the end.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, guys. Guess what? You're paid to do a job. Why didn't you show all that passion when you were actually in the game? Why didn't you give a fuck during the game? Why didn't you raise your game?
The goal and Van de Ven was at fault.
And Van de Ven, the last 2 or 3 games has really seriously gone off the boil. I don't know why, but you can argue there might be many factors involved in that. He might be getting chuffed off because he's seeing all the crap around him, thinking, "Why the hell am I with this chicken shit outfit?" Quoting Aliens. To me, and Spence, with all due respect, Spence,
have you run out of quotes from Big Trouble in Little China?
Oh no, mate. There's always plenty of that. It's all in the reflexes, mate. You know. It's to me. Yeah, sorry. I was
Also-
just to me, it's Spencer's. Sorry, mate. Spencer's really got to get a grip of himself, because just because he's come on as a sub for England, don't make you the finished article fella. Not even by a long shot.
But when we
No,
play Spencer left back,
Sorry.
it
go on.
limits us because he's so right-footed. When
Yeah.
you get a doggy at left back, a natural left back, he can take the ball wide. Spence has looked terrible at left back, and whereas Porro was dreadful and he was dominated. So if you want the physicality of Spence, play him at right back and put Porro on the bench, or if you're insistent that you go put him in the team without a doggy and play him as the left-sided left back, and then you can put Romero and Danso in the same team together. But it's just like, even the tactical stuff at the weekend, every single corner went to 4 or 5 blokes at the back post. There was nobody on the penalty spot. There was nobody attacking from the front post. Every one of them the keeper took easily, and the long throws becoming sort of a novelty act that you'd expect to see on an episode of The Simpsons.
I think that in respect of the hissy fit from Spence and his mannerisms and this business. I mean, it's like somewhat heartbreaking. And bear in mind, this comes from somebody who doesn't actually have a heart. But you see Mickey van der Ven, whatever his name is, walking off the pitch, and a kid who must probably be in about 10 or 11 or 12 go, Mickey van der Ven, and he just completely blanks him. I mean, I don't want to do the outraged consumer thing, but this is where the messaging from Spurs is so blurred and fuzzy. Are you going to be waving and signing autographs and doing what's in the box sketches, or are you going to be a fucking grown up? And I just don't see where we are. I mean, the Lewis family, I'm going to say this every week, they need to come in and take this by the scruff of the neck. We've got more CEO appointments than we have strikers. I mean, it is farcical. It is absolutely farcical. But this fan base, I actually find it quite amusing. I have to tell you, it doesn't irritate me anymore. I'm through the looking glass with all this lot. They've created a fan base of bedwetting incels. Oh, Frank out. Well, why don't you just bring in who do you want to bring in? Michael Crawford? Shirley Bassey? I don't care. You're so stupid. Just bring in your favourite pop star. Let's turn the whole thing into a complete pantomime. And this is the fan base. This is the fan base they have handcrafted.
The only positive is that Frank's laying it bare for all of the executive team to see how bad we are, as there's nobody from a leadership perspective who can sit in that stadium and not see that we are absolutely dreadful. And we haven't even spoke about our favourite when we brought on Brennan Johnson. His first phase of play, he was to try and cross the ball into the box, and he put it into Rose Ed. This is a man who...
Well, he says
down.
man.
This is a man who sits down. This is a man who sits down when he goes for a wee, and you can never trust people of that nature. He has clearly got a strained vagina.
Yeah, I tell you, whoever gets the grains of sand that are interfering with his urinary tract infection out of there wins a prize. I mean, the guy. I said it when we first signed him after weeks. Okay, because I'm a monster. He's a hairdresser that gets beaten up by other hairdressers. Now, if there's anything about that you don't understand, raise your hand, and I will explain it to you. But what I'm really telling you is that you're too stupid to engage with. We don't have the resources. We don't have the resources.
This is another Postecoglou signing, though, wasn't it? He was the one who saw him. He was the one who tracked him. And this says everything you need to know about his player identification. It's non-existent.
Well, look, I don't know what's fact and what's fiction, but anybody who could even sustain a telephone call for 2 minutes, let alone 2 hours, with Matthias Tell. Oh, and can I just for the record, because I said this on my live thing, which, Chris, I'm terribly sorry I didn't explain it sufficiently. I went out live on the Substack, not on the YouTube. No, but thank you for the kind remark.
That's with you then. You need to be clear and unambiguous.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was great to be told off for despite the fact I'd put the link in the video and said it's in the description. But don't worry about that. No,
I'm 3,500 miles away. My detail was lacking.
No, I'll tell you what your problem was, that you'd had a veal chop for breakfast and you were trying on cowboy hats. You were distracted by the Wild West, by Midwestern America. No, but what can we briefly, and I want to approach this in a serious and delicate and understanding and inclusive manner. Has anybody else noticed the amount of people that are wearing bandages on their hands? Like they've got a wrist injury. Matthias Tell, I'm looking at you. I can't remember who else it was. There was a whole rake of them. I think even Kudos was wearing one. And it turned out that Joe Linton had one on. Is this the latest Lucky Rabbit's foot or something?
Apparently they stop you being a wanker.
Tony?
Don't stop me. Don't stop me. I have plaster of Paris on mine. Still doesn't stop me. But just go back to the original point. You're talking about signings. I mean, I've just called up a list of the signings that we had under Ange. So this is obviously Ange approved and all this sort of stuff. Brendan Johnson, James Maddison, Pedro Porro, Mickey van der Ven, Dejan Kulusevski, Guillermo Vicario, Radu Dragusin, Timo Werner on loan, Dominic Solanke, Archie Gray, Odebert, Bergval, Veliz, Phillips, Manor Solomon, Yang Min Huyuk, and all of that was 344 million. And you could argue there's probably two of those that you'd say, okay, I could stick with that lot. The rest of them, you could just say, dump them all in the bin.
They are rubbish, and this is one of the things that again I've been saying for a long time, because stupid people need to listen to what you say and then pick out the words that they can form into another fucking idea that you didn't actually say at all, like some sort of ransom note. We have spent bundles on players, and we've bought toss. I mean, this is like the time when we had Dongi Ndombele wandering around the fast food outlets of Turkey and all the rest of it. We sunk a ton of money into this guy and got close to zero back. So
Well, do you
people are
remember
pulling faces,
Yeah.
pulling faces at the team sheet. But what do you want? I mean,
Well,
it's not like Thomas Frank has fallen out with Harry Kane. We sold him.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, you both made the absolutely spot on point about if you're in a good team and you're not the best player, you raise your game to because that's the way, because you want to, obviously play that well. You want to improve yourself and you're playing a good team. Now, you look at Dragusin was a classic example of that. In the Euros, for Romania, you can argue that Romania weren't the best team in that tournament by a long way. But because he was in a team that actually all performed to the best of their capabilities, he excelled. He absolutely excelled in that. He was absolutely rock solid. Comes to Spurs, form falls off a cliff. Please tell me, there's no coincidence, is it? It's no coincidence. Every half-decent player that comes to us, form falls off a cliff.
I think with Dragusin, he was a no-nonsense defender, wasn't he? And he was being asked to play the Postecoglou high line, and his hamstrings quickly decided this isn't for me, and I haven't got the pace to deal with it.
Boing.
Well, Van der Ven is the only one. Van der Ven is the only one who has the hamstrings, the relevant hamstrings, and even they've been tested on 2 occasions.
And that's where that's where we've got to not get too excited about the second coming of Paratici. So let's not forget this was a bloke who oversaw the signings of Emerson Royal, Brian Hill, and who was that wannabe rap star goalkeeper, Pierluigi Gallina, was it?
Gallina, yeah.
We've had our fair share of shite under him.
Yeah,
and
last season was a victim in Equaliser 3, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, the last season under him, everybody was ever so keen to get rid of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Yet we would have done anything we could have to have had him in the Postecoglou team.
This goes back again to stupid mindset. This goes back again to stupid people who feel that the comments box on a forum or on a social media platform is an obligatory thing, a compulsory thing where you have to put something in there. And if you're not bright enough, don't bloody do it. The quality of people's thoughts on football has gone through the floor. And I'm going to come back to this because I know people watching it absolutely despise me for reminding us all. But my industry, this online clickety-click thing, has gone through the toilet. And yes, it is partly down to the ridiculous, aggressive and unnecessary wholesale changes dreamt up by the fine minds at Google. But Reach PLC have sacked 300 or 400 people. And guess what? Who could have seen that coming? Produce absolute dross, smother it in advertising, and it's not worth reading. I mean, we've been doing the pub thing recently, as you know, and goodness me, people can't even write a bloody headline. The tragedy of the mental patient. I'm not going to go down that route, but the guy who attempted to murder 11 people or more, significant life-changing injuries, and one of the headlines from a Reach publication I saw this morning said that the 4 words that he said to a woman as he ran past her on the train. Mate, step away from the computer and leave it alone. I mean, this is some of the most grotesque, violent, hideous stuff we've seen in this country, and you're making it into a puzzle for a 5-year-old child to solve. No wonder you're on the dole as soon as things get a bit squeaky. I mean, but that's the way that football's gone. That's the way that football's gone. And I was wanging on about this like some crazy guy telling you that there was aliens coming. And now what have we got? We've got creatures from outer space with lasers attached to their foreheads, causing absolute bloody chaos.
Are they Jewish-based lasers?
They were manufactured in Israel, yes, but I understand they had no significant involvement in the nature of the manner in which they were deployed.
I was going to say, because Marjorie Taylor Greene with her Jewish space lasers, it's just brilliant. You can't fucking beat that, can you?
The idea unavailable for comment.
I know. You know.
I think we've also got to backtrack to these snippets of discontent coming out the club. The players bored with the training methods. That's your job. That's what you're paid to do. You've got to crack on with it. That weak mindset,
what did they expect?
Mindset remains at the club, doesn't it?
What did they expect? Hookers, cocaine, knife throwing dwarves? Guys, it's running around little training cones and high-fiving each other endlessly until somebody dies because they bought something from Louis Vuitton which had a nasty spike in it. I would prefer
dwarf throwing knives, but there you go.
Well, if you go to the Gunmaker's Arms, soon to open in Birmingham, all of those things will come through. I can assure you the escape room and the Uncle Fritzl room, where you can experience your every fetish.
I'll tell you something. They come fitted as standard.
He'll have his own app, Selector Dwarf, soon.
We got some tips last night. Mason Newman and I went to see Marilyn Manson in Nottingham.
Oh, God, I'm jealous of that, mate. I would love to have gone and seen that.
That was insane. It really was good. I mean, there was some pretty interesting DNA in the audience. But and that comes from me, so you know how just whacked out that was. But what a show! Absolutely inch perfect. Really, really good. No, I thought it was great actually, because and of course it would resonate, wouldn't it? He said the people that don't like me, they make me stronger. Because obviously he's had a few problems recently. But listen to me, speaking as a father, don't let your daughter date Marilyn Manson. It won't end well. You don't need to be a psychologist to understand that particular issue, you know. No, the clue is clearly visible on the labelling of the packaging.
But speaking of children, how is Madeline these days?
She's up and about. We're enjoying her 15 minutes of freedom every day. We're still working on the name change, obviously for legal reasons. But yeah, it's a limited but joyful life.
Let's changing the subject to something a bit more positive, if there is such a thing as positive.
By the way, you're right. Thank you very much. I should have said thank you very much for those Jeffrey Dahmer photos.
Right, yeah. I thought you'd find them. I thought you'd find them interesting.
Swift service, and would definitely recommend.
Yeah, just don't ask for the sauce.
Well, the fact that they hadn't seen the inside of a police station made them all the more lucrative.
I think insides. I think insides is not the sort of thing you want to be quoting here. So, but I got to say, the one on, despite the clusterfuck that was the Chelsea game, I have to really applaud the physios and the staff there for dealing with Bergvall so properly.
Yeah. They got
Absolutely spot on. Money. 100%. Normally, you see other players, you know, they'd be. I mean, we had it before, didn't we? With, I can't remember. There was another player who came back on and was clearly not right, and we had to take him off again, didn't we? A year or two back. But they were absolutely spot on with Bergvall, and you could see it in his eyes. He was gone. You could absolutely see it in his eyes. He was punch drunk, wasn't he? He was completely punch drunk. You could see that, and so I applaud them for that. So well done to the physio staff on that. At least they got that right. At least there was something that went right that day, because at the end of the day, you know, his health and what could have happened if he'd have stayed on would have been a lot worse. So, you know, I do send out some plaudits to them for at least doing the right thing there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing as well. I mean, we're sort of giving with a large print, taking away with a small. But I mean, what the hell is going on at Hotspur Way in respect of injuries? I mean, we were all, me included, definitely me included, me leading the charge, were content to dig out Ange for all the hamstrings. But how many players have we got available? And there's so much vagary, and again, this fuzzy thinking. I mean, look, I'm not a doctor, but I have got a brain. What the hell? You've got unlimited resources and you can't keep players fit.
We feel like a waiting room for Dignitas at the moment, don't we?
Yeah, the next flight is leaving in 15 minutes. Please make sure you've got your notes neatly folded. You know, I mean, it's just rough. I mean, Solanke, that's another donkey that is we're going to be very excited to have back. He's not going to do anything. He spent a career not doing anything.
And the suggestions are that Frank's not impressed with him one bit and doesn't want him anywhere near the club, if you believe the snippets coming out on social media.
If you believe one, Chris, then you've got to believe the other. You know, you can't just randomly pick the ones that you choose to believe. You know, you either believe all the stuff that's coming out from these sources, or you don't. You can't just say that one fits my narrative, I'm going to believe that. I don't believe that one because it doesn't fit my narrative.
Absolutely.
Do you know what really frustrates me at the moment? We've got Dane Scarlett.
Sudoku? Does that frustrate you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, the numbers. I can't do the numbers.
I ran out of fingers and toes. But Dane Scarlett.
The size of those courgettes. You should be our goalkeeper.
Yeah, Dane Scarlett on the bench at the weekend. We all know he's not good enough. He's never going to make it at the club. Yeah, you've got that Luca Barnett-Williams that we've spoken about previously, knocking in goals for fun. He's just signed his first professional contract. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And due to complete lack of creativity anywhere near that first team, what's there to risk putting him in? Because if you're prepared to give Odebear 45 minutes to an hour, then surely this guy deserves a chance.
Well, if you go through the numbers, and I know people don't like doing it, but if you go through the numbers, they don't tell you the entire story. I acknowledge that, but they do give even stupid people a glimpse into what's happening. And we've got a team which, generally speaking, passes the ball sideways or backwards more than it does forwards. And that is, on the rare occasion, the ball actually goes from one Tottenham Hotspur footballer to another. There's a massive, like, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like a sort of sense of interference at the club where you just can't, it's like trying to watch a TV and it isn't tuned in properly.
I think it's more than that, H. I think the players, the virtual 90% of the playing squad are so mentally fragile.
Yeah.
It was to me the whole game was Chelsea had brought a gun to a knife fight.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's the way I would express it, because they won every single battle. Literally every single battle, every 50-50, every tackle, everything. They gave us nothing. They were absolutely ruthless, and I love that. I think that's great. You know, that's what we aspire to be.
But as a fan, that's what you're looking for. It's that sense of coherency that we lack. And they're talking about, and when I say they, I mean the white noise of stupid, and saying, well, we can win away. Why can't we be better at home? Guess what? I don't care. We're drowning. You're describing the water. This football club, the fans go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and they don't get value for money. They simply do not get value for money. You get charged £8 for a can of bloody cider, which is £10 for a sleeve of 10 in your local Londis, and you get served up rubbish like Richarlison. But if you look on the pages, and I've been banging on about these bloody people for years now, you go and look at Reddit and look at all these other like Spurs community. These people are incels clutching each other on a lifeboat. Oh, it looks very choppy. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm just sick of hearing it. Constantly making excuses and then scratching your backside, wondering how it all went wrong. I mean, the loss against Chelsea, and again, grown-ups do what they can to get through in this life to ward off uncertainty. Have a look at what the bookmakers are telling you. I keep saying it every flipping week, but you walk down the high street, you very rarely see a bookmaker saying closing. Everything must go. Flower shop opening soon. The bookmakers have been calling us to draw or lose the last 2 or 3 games. And until that changes, because it's based on raw data, so you can stick your head in the sand all you want, but stop making excuses. Stop responding illogically to stuff that is all too predictable. And I know there's been people listening to me going, oh, he beats the fans up. I just want to have fun and cheer. I think you actually need to sit down with somebody who went to medical school and let it all out, baby. That's what I think you need. But I don't think football's for you. I think it's too complicated and it isn't emotionally giving enough for you. Which I know isn't very helpful, but we've got a team full of old donkeys and stuff that nobody wants. I look at the transfer stuff for very many different clubs because of what I do. And I'm telling you now, there is so little interest in Tottenham players. Players of interest for Spurs, West Ham, Crystal Palace, players abroad, players here, there, and the other. Who is talking about exit strategies for Tottenham players? I'll give you a clue. Nobody. So all the players that you're hoping and praying and banking on and investing in emotionally aren't in demand. The bookmakers are telling you that we probably won't win. And then they're telling us that we probably won't sell anybody. And why is that? Because there's no bloody interest, because that's called reality. So all your little hopes and dreams and your fairy tales and your voices in your head that you insanely are listening to, and your Gold My Beers and your Tottenham Away and all these other people that don't have a brain cell between them, you're listening to this rubbish, and then when the team sheet comes out, you're saying, get rid of Frank, as if he's doing something, as if he's actively working against the common good of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And it's
the paucity of talent in this squad is there for all to see. When you look at the games that we've won away, West Ham, who are in the relegation zone, Everton, who are only about 3 points outside the relegation zone,
played really well yesterday. In credit to them, West Ham.
They did. They absolutely did.
Better than anything we had.
They did. And again, a lot of people going on about Nuno. This is just again my own opinion. I always felt Nuno was never given a fair whip, never given a fair crack.
Tone, in fairness, mate, you're telling us what was evident for us to see. He only was in charge for 17 or 18 games or something.
But you
can't say he was given a fair crack because he didn't have any time. But again, this was a man who was handicapped. He was handicapped by the handicapper at the racehorses thing, which I've said to people before. They still don't bloody understand. The handicapper put some pieces of lead into the saddlebags of a horse in order to create what's called a level playing field. And we had a handicapper working for the club. He was the CEO. You couldn't make it up.
You look at our central midfield options. What does Rodrigo Bentancur actually bring to this club? And I'd say nothing at all. Everything's backwards and sideways. You compare him to 2 or 3 miles down the road, Declan Rice at Arsenal. the difference between them is vast.
I'd say the difference is vast between him and Højbjerg,
Yeah.
who we couldn't, for some reason, we couldn't wait to get rid of. We couldn't wait to get rid of him for some reason.
I hate to bring it in again, guys, but who was screaming for him to go? It was all the nitwits out there that don't understand football. These are the same people that didn't understand how crucial Michael Carrick was to Tottenham. And if you don't believe me because you don't understand me and you're too stupid, well, why did Sir Alex Ferguson build a dynasty? Not a legacy, this stupid modern language, a dynasty of achievement at Manchester United around Michael Carrick. We never understood what we got when we bought Luka Modric, and we've never replaced him.
Yeah,
this is a ship. This is a ship without a captain, and the ship's wheel is a bit wonky. Doesn't feel right.
You look at the other two. So you had Bentancur. I'm not a massive fan of. I think he's a very average player. Pellegrini, I love. I think he does what he needs to do, but he needs those around him to do the other things. You had Sarr, who we're told is all energy, but collectively, the three of them couldn't hit the back of the net in a brothel. You've got no ball player in there. You look at the best teams and you look at the outlets. You've got, remember Tom Huddleston back in the day? He was like the quarterback. You gave him the ball, he could fizz a ball 40 yards and find somebody.
Well, normally the person he found, Chris, in fairness, was Mrs. O'Grady, who was straightening her husband's hat. I mean, he was about as reliable as me.
But we had ball players, and in the current side, you name a single person who can pick a pass out. There is not one.
No, I mean, and because I actually have to say, I don't think it's through want of trying; it's through want of stupidity. I mean, Basuma, they actually came out with the line, "He brought the vibes." That is a human being commenting on that miscreant moron, nitrous, inhaling sack of idiocy. He said, avoiding being interviewed by the police this afternoon. But no, I mean, this guy's absolute dross. Absolute dross. And Bentancur, do you know where he should be? Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yep.
They'd love him down there.
I was going to say, Rach, when you look at the players... When you look at the teams that we've beaten away, Everton, Leeds, West Ham, that's where we are. That's where we are. That's our echelon. That is our echelon. The teams we've lost to at home, Aston Villa, Chelsea.
Yeah.
What do you expect? That's where we are. That's where we are.
The sides that have beaten us are the same sides that were beating us under previous coaches. And that's because the quality of the squad has stayed around about the same point, which is just above relegation. We're not good enough to be in champions of Europe. Do you know something? I'm not a violent man, but I would horribly, speaking figuratively, of course, disfigure a number of our supporters for being so stupid. Champions of Europe, cretins, absolute cretins.
It's all about how we've failed to spend previous transfer fees. I watched that Man City Bournemouth game yesterday, cracking game of football. But you've got that Alex Scott playing centre midfield for Bournemouth, arguably better than anything we've got in the middle of the park. Then you've got Semenyo that many have been ranting and raving about. Both of those kids came from Bristol City. We should have been
cost 17 million quid. Scott, it was a bargain, an absolute bargain. They were screaming at him to buy him.
And then you look at the difference between our squad and City's. They had Ryan Cherky, they had Doku, they had Foden. They bought on Marmouche and Savinho. The attacking outlets they've got are phenomenal. Then in the middle of the park, they had Nico, Silva, and then they bought on who was the returning Spanish lad, Rodri. So we are head and shoulders away from them. Can I
just get a plug in for the two blokes down the pub that I had with my mate Chris in Malvern? He spoke, because he's not an idiot, because he's an incredibly intelligent family man, decent human being. He came to me with bloody numbers and names and explained that the average profit margin on the good work's done down the road in Hounslow at the bus stop at Brentford is 80%. They buy a player for a couple of mil and sell him for 40. And he went through a list. Now, if I was at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and if the mentality has changed, which I don't believe it has yet because it hasn't evidenced itself, I would be absolutely delighted to speak to Thomas Frank. And instead of hiring all of these chinless wonders from LinkedIn, and we all know how I feel about these baboons, they're not football people. I would be saying to Thomas Frank, mate, who are the guys? I mean, where are they that have scouted these players, and then reel off the list, of all the players. Now, you can say what you want, but they've got big cash money for all of these guys. And I know this is going to sound terribly simplistic, but if we do not buy Ivan Toney or loan him this winter, I tell you, we're going to be in for a hell of a long campaign towards the summer. But
Don't
this
forget,
season is going to be another write-off. Ivan Toney is the answer.
well, don't forget, the majority of this squad finished 17th in the league last season.
Oh, no. We're not discussing that. We're here to wave at buses.
Yeah.
For one, I'm endorsing the bus waving message. I won't hear anything negative about that because that didn't happen and should never have been sacked. This is the level of stupidity. This is the charge. If I was bringing Spurs before a court, this is the charge. Abject stupidity.
Do you know what? We need to... Frank is going to be assessing these guys on the training pitch. He's going to have his collection of, these are the players that you can definitely get rid of. This is the collection that we might consider keeping. And this is the collection that we desperately need through the door. What we've got, and we've spoken about this time and time again, is mentally fragile and unstable individuals who don't know the difference between winning and failure. And they are so weak on the pitch that the DNA shines through, and time again, they will just collapse when they're under pressure.
And what people have also forgotten, though, what people have also forgotten is that people going on about Frank, get rid of Frank, blah blah blah. But regardless of the quality of the football, and there's many factors involved in that which we've discussed. He has actually made us incredibly hard to beat.
Yeah,
and that in
we've lost 3 games.
Exactly. Yeah. We've got a plus goal difference. We've conceded 8 goals, which is only Arsenal in the top 5 have got a better record. We're joint second with Man City. Okay. And we're only 2 points behind Man City. When you come, so why are you shouting Frank out now when you can see it's so obvious that he's dealing with the weight of the crap that he's actually inherited? He knew what he was going into. Let's not be naive. He knew exactly what he was going into.
And that's
this guy has not fallen off the back of a banana boat, for want of an even more controversial phrase. This guy has traded and competed in the Premier League with buttons to spend. This is a man that we should be seeking guidance from. This is like your like my background. You're in a clothes shop. You're not doing very well. You're really struggling. You can't seem to get the brands that you want, and you can't this, that, and the other. And you just really, it's tough. And then a guy comes in and hands his CV in and tells you that he was the head buyer for bloody Harrods or Harvey Nichols. Hang on a minute. This guy's done that. This isn't his first rodeo. Hire him. Bring in the class. I mean, I keep on saying it, and I'm perhaps alienating my own audience here by saying, LinkedIn hires. I understand everybody's got to eat, everybody's got to get on, and it's a jungle out there, blah, blah, blah. Give me some football people. Where have any of these guys come from where they've achieved what Brentford have? And you can say, well, they haven't won anything. Well, I tell you something, for a team that haven't won anything, they haven't half made a lot of money. They haven't half sold a lot of this toots they picked up off the street and sold it as top flight par excellence players. I want to listen to those guys. I want to recruit them, and I want to take guidance from them, because what Spurs are doing, it sounds to me like they're just recruiting more people to fill that bottom part of the website page and our official, ironing board sponsor is Morphy Richards.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing. We'll never have creased shorts again.
I think Frank is clever enough to have heard those boos at the end of the game. And unlike others who have tried to bury it under the floor and it's everybody else's problem, I think he is the type that seems to me who will own the problem. And he's reflective enough to realise that there's work to do. And in turn, Vinay you would hope, and the sports directors have got to realise you can't work wonders and you can't turn water into wine. And with the shit that we've got, you can't polish a turd.
Well, can I also say, Chris, on the other front as well, all the people who wanted Ange in after the Europa League thing, right? They wanted him in despite the fact we came very close to relegation. We ended up 17th, losing 22 games in a season in the Premier League, a new low. Now let's put that into perspective. How many transfer windows did he have to still get to that sort of level? We've got to give Frank exactly. But even so, you're looking at least 3 transfer windows for Frank to really put his stamp on the team. And he wants the players the players who he can play in the right places, the quality of what he knows he can work with, and how he can then establish what he does. What he's done so far isn't pretty, but he's made us hard to beat, which is, well, I know that's not what we want. We all want to play glory football and that sort of thing. But there's no point playing glory football and ending up losing 22 games in a season. Yeah. You know, that's the thing. And we weren't even doing glory football towards the end with Ange either. So let's have a dose of realism here, fellas.
Sorry. I've got no interest in all this rational thought. I mean, just read, grab a book off the shelf there behind you, and I want you to read it backwards. It makes more sense to me than anything you've just said. Look, we know where Frank is. Frank's a company man. He hasn't got an argumentative bone in his body. Oh, no, that's right. He immediately cancelled Matthias Tell from the Champions League squad because he knew in his heart of hearts, without having to think about it particularly lengthy period of time, that he simply isn't good enough at playing at that standard of football.
Yeah, somebody deemed it acceptable to pay 10 million loan fee for him, followed up by 35 million for an outright transfer. 45 million spent on a pile of steaming turd.
Ponzi scheme. Ponzi. Anybody, and this is the thing. I'm not going to, you're going to say, oh, it's not very nice. You're stupid. Anybody trying to tell me that Matthias Tell has got a chance, a hope? So far, we've had a penalty and an own goal. Not buying it. He was shite in Germany. He'll be shite in England. And then guess what? He'll be shite somewhere else. And he probably will end up playing in the next Ange Postecoglou side, because apparently they had 120 minutes of japes and laughter on the phone together once. Do me a favour.
Talking about shite, I'm pleased to see the audition of Ryan Mason for future Tottenham managers going well at West Brom.
Hey!
Yeah, that man who was heralded as the greatest coach ever, who was going to get West Brom promoted easily, and they've lost like 6 games and the fans are already calling for his head.
That guy was one of those employees, and we've all seen them in companies, who managed to hang on forever because they know the game of how to avoid getting caught. Not that they're up to anything. What they're up to is they're perpetuating their involvement. They're getting paid every month, and it's effectively theft. Mason was incompetent as a manager at Tottenham, and all we got within these walls.
The day Daniel Levy left Tottenham, I bet Ryan Mason was reduced to tears, wasn't he? His wife, and she was patting him on the back saying, "It's all right, Ryan, it's all right."
Well, I don't have anything favourable to say against the guy. He appears to be part of the isn't he lovely, isn't he brave club, and they are the sort of supporters that this club needs to get shot of. Go to a dog rescue. If you've got that much love in your heart for people who are down on their luck, go to a bloody dog rescue. You can make a little dog's life wonderful, and you don't spoil the rest of our existences by involving yourself in Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, this is I've almost completed the jigsaw puzzle of this bloody club. I really have. I've only got a few more pieces to put into place. And, stupid fans, bad decisions. I mean, it's not difficult, is it? It's not difficult.
And we got 5 minutes before the hour, and I think Tony and I have both got a Foxtrot Oscar. But
I think that's the best place for you.
Yeah,
I love the way
not together in the biblical sense.
I love the way that you two halfwits are giving the impression of being cutting edge of British industry, and I can spare you an hour between so and so. It's quite plausible. I mean, if I didn't know you both, I could be sucked into your web of deceit.
You'd love to be sucked in by Chris, wouldn't you? That's what.
Yeah, and spat out.
In your eyes, bitch, in your eyes. Right, ladies and gentlemen, as I said,
Hey, I'm not going to let you run away so easily. So Copenhagen tomorrow night, what's our thoughts? Little Green Mermaid and all that.
I've never been there. I don't know. I wish everybody well. I might do a live thing on the Substack. In fact, I will. There you go.
No, not on the YouTube channel.
No. I think the Substack deserves more love. I've been under a lot of pressure recently, and people are paying, hard-earned good money for that, and they should get a little bit more love. So
right.
the YouTube's all right. The YouTube, I put any old rubbish out on there.
I'm
going to offer free 6-month subscriptions to any YouTuber that wants to come on board, and I'll put the link where you can email me, and I'll just add you, so you can become part of the elites. So if you're really stupid, don't send me your email. Huh? The Illuminati, exactly. I think Spurs will draw. There you go. What do you think, Uncle Tony?
I think they'll win.
What, Copenhagen will win?
No, I think we'll win.
We've got to, haven't we?
We've got to. I think we'll win.
Okay.
Well, they're fourth in the Superliga. They're fourth in the Superliga. So, and we know how poor that is. So, okay. I'll paraphrase. I'll rephrase it. We should win. We should win. My concern isn't necessarily tomorrow. It's United on Saturday, then Arsenal the following Sunday, then PSG, then Fulham, then Newcastle. I mean, good grief.
They're all easy.
Can you remember that 2-2 draw in pre-season with PSG? What happened to that team? What happened to that performance? They all seem a million miles away.
Yeah. Well, that's because they're all having a loving at HOTSPUR treatment centre, aren't they?
I hate to break it to you, kids, but I don't think PSG are exactly the mighty force that they are. They also had players rested and out for that game,
and we were the beach onto the football pitch,
and we were high on emotion because we were champions of Europe. Just
can you imagine? Can you imagine if we'd actually had won that tournament? What people would have been, these idiots would have been saying about, look, we really are champions of Europe. We did beat the champions of Europe, so we must be champions of Europe.
Well, I can't name names because some people have been on a suicide watch since they last had an encounter with me, but there are people out there who are still using that language. I wish them well, and I hope they get the treatment that they ultimately probably deserve, but I wouldn't give to them even if it was free, and I wouldn't miss it. I just think there's a breed of fan out there that's mentally unstable, and I just don't want to be around when it goes wrong, and it's already going wrong for a lot of people. That's the problem. We need the Lewis family to buck their ideas up and say by deed of evidence, by deed of action, that they're not going to behave like Daniel anymore, and we need the fan base to start asking some questions, opposed to demanding for silence so they can shout and whoop and holler.
Well, the thing is, as well, you say about Tony being the answer. Tony isn't the only answer because we need someone to actually get the ball to him.
Yeah, we need a genuine.
Don't get me wrong. There is no quick fix. But if we don't get somebody who can be relied upon to score goals, because Richarlison's never done it and never gonna do it, and Solanke, breaking news, he's poop as well.
Season wonder.
Just rubbish.
You watch.
You go down Primark. You spend £5 on a T-shirt. It's not going to be around forever. And do you know why? It was a £5.
You look at the high level of expectation that's going to be put on an 18-year-old from Ireland coming in January. Next thing, Mason Melia. It's all going to be about. We only need one forward. We've got Melia. We don't want to hinder his development or progress into the first team.
Yep. Absolutely ridiculous.
Number 10, 2 centre forwards and a left back. and we
Well,
need
screw
to get.
it. If we're going to do that, let's just play the entire under 21s and under 18s team together. We'll just chuck all the best of them in and stick them in there. Then, if that's the way we're going to start thinking about things.
No, you can't do that, because otherwise they would be revealed as not being very good, and all that money that we say they're worth will be shredded.
Well, it made me laugh yesterday. I was flicking through X, and the amount of tweets about how wonderful Mikey Moore was playing for Rangers against Celtic.
What, in the 17 minutes he got?
Yeah, despite the fact they lost 3-1.
Yeah. Well, this is the danger. And as I say, repeating the same bloody mantra, but we've got fans who don't even, they are sub Australian levels of footballing intelligence. And those
I'm sorry, is this the same Celtic that don't have a manager?
No, Martin O'Neill. Don't be disrespectful.
No, he's not a manager. He's not their manager. He is nothing more than how should we say, a dowel filling a hole.
A Cristiano Stellini.
I tell you what Martin O'Neill is. He's the last man standing.
Absolutely.
He's like that line out of Valkyrie where the guy says, if you wouldn't mind awfully when the music stops, if so and so was left without a chair. that's what Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill, great guy, fantastic guy, but he's doing them a colossal favour, and it's only temporary. And they will employ somebody stupid. So when they go to Cowdenbeath and play in front of 3,500 people, they can feel like the champions of the world.
Odds on Ange making a hero's return.
Well, the bookies having price to do it. But do you know something? I think even he, with his Kevlar branded rhino skin, got such a beating. With his grimacing smile as he pulled out of the Forest ground. I don't think we're going to see him again for a while. I think he'll come back and do a lap of honour in the Southern Hemisphere somewhere.
He took away collectively about £27 million in revenue from leaving Tottenham and Forest. He's 60 years of age. Who really wants all the aggravation that goes with being a football manager?
He's got cash on the hip, whereby he's in the same league as the Rolling Stones. So I don't think he's in a hurry. And of course, the shorter. Have
you approached him, man? Have you approached him to be an investor in your pub?
No, we've got plenty of investment because people like to back a good idea. That's the answer.
I thought that was your pub that Chris Sperrin was in the weekend where he was posting pictures. I was thinking, well, this is bloody lovely, isn't it?
Well, ours is going to be unusual, and I have to be totally honest because that's the deal. It's going to feel more like a brothel than a public house.
You'll be right at home then, H.
I was going to say, I just love the way he paraphrased. Ours is going to be unusual.
When I said standing room only, that was actually one of the themes of the nights.
Yeah. Standing room on a big cross.
Damn right. Okay, I'm out of here. It's been an hour. Any more for any more? No. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to tune in again soon when you can hear three possibly intelligent people berate you. That's it for now. Good luck. God bless. And may your God go with you and all that